Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, she was saying about the soaps. Yeah. Yeah, who did some? Honestly, some of the conversations I don't need to know. So some of them, any, sometimes when you just don't need to know, I just don't need to know. Nah, trust me, you should have heard it. I was like, yo, my man was upset. You see the one with his dog. And the first one that come up with the dog. Was, I think, nah, that looks like it should be 12. Give me 1 second. Let me just. I'm trying to. Yeah, we're up on the YouTube. Yeah, I was thinking that. I can't seem to. Yeah, 1 second, let me pull back up on Nah, I think. Yeah, yeah. So you're running off the hotspot, innit? Yeah, yeah. I don't think this is working. But, nah, no, so it's. Yeah, that's all right. All right, this is the this is the ISUPK Wednesday law class. Also, remember, check out Commanding General Yohanna's radio show, which is Monday 2 a.m. UK time. Also, check out the classes in the States, which is Monday, also Monday through Friday. Um, and also we have classes here in the UK. So the classes here in the UK run from Monday 7 p.m. till 9, Wednesday 7 p.m. till 9, Thursday 7 p.m. till 9. So we have the history class, the law class, and the scripture breakdown class. Also, we have the Sabbath service. Also, we have what on the ends on Friday. So on the ends is Friday 9 p.m. Log into that, man. Log into that. You got hosted by Officer Croft and Captain Mashot. Them two both run on the ends. Just log in Friday 9 p.m. Listen to the sound clash. Listen to the famous sound clash that they have every week. They have these sound clashes that they do. Log in, decide who you think wins, and whatnot. And with that, we're gonna go into a few things today. Give me 1 second. Let me just see if I can get this. So yeah, and a lot's been going on this week. Last week the topic was who what Jada Pinkett. Last week the topic was Jada Pinkett. And what's Will Smith gone and done? He's took her to the Bahamas, man, for a vacation. stuck on holiday for a vacation. 3 grand a night. The hotel they're staying at costs 3 grand a night. So you mean to say she cheated on him, and she gets rewarded? So she gets rewarded for being evil, man. And listen, man, which means what? So many women that look up to her are gonna expect this same kind of treatment. She cheated on him, and now she's on vacation. And also, a company offered her 2 million for her to what? Be one of those women that discuss affairs and how to deal with affairs. So she's getting deals off of being a whore, man. Whereas if a man done the same thing, everyone would cancel him. No one would watch his movie. No one would watch his movie. No one would watch him play sports. Whatever he does, his company would get rid of him and whatnot. The thing is this, man. When Usain Bolt they found Usain Bolt with another woman, they complain, man. When a man does something like that, they say he's not a role model, he's not this, he's not that, and then Jade is a role model, man. Now Jade is gonna teach your daughter to what? Be a hoe and all of them kind of things. Everyone, you can say something. I'm looking that's like, well, in media, I never heard from Blue Island, like myself. Was it him? Cheating his girl, yeah. That was it. See, and that's how it goes, man. Being a black man's hard, man. Is any of them coming on the stream yard? Yeah, not yet, yeah. Give me Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1. So we're gonna go into a few scriptures. Give me. Exodus 1:1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel who came into Egypt. So now we're going to show you, man, like you see Egypt, the spirit that the Egyptians have is the same one the white man's got towards us today, man. Exactly the same. The way the Egyptians dealt with us in Egypt, you will see how our oppressor deals with us in this place. Ain't nothing changed, man. You see when you read the book of Exodus, when you read the book of Exodus and Egypt, you realize there's a pattern with how we treated. There's a pattern with how they treat us. Ain't nothing changed from Egypt and now we treat it exactly the same. Go ahead. Every man and his household came with Jacob, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher, and all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. For Jacob was in Egypt already. For Joseph was in Egypt already. Now it said 70 souls came in with Jacob. Now they went to Egypt. Why? Because there was a famine and Joseph was there and whatnot. And then before you know it, them Egyptians started treating them horribly, man. For no reason, just started treating them horribly out of the blue. Ain't nothing new, man. We in England, why? To carry out our captivity. And this place, they're treating us worse than they're supposed to. The Lord said, what? There was a time when our punishment had an end. And this man doesn't let our punishment end, man. And this devil does what? Kills us, shoots us, throws us in jail, gives us more years than everybody else in jail. Like you would have thought picking cotton was enough, man. You would have thought, you know what? These have been slaves. Let me just let them off now. They've been slaves for all these years. Let me let them off now. Because, you know, they picked all the cotton in the world that could possibly be picked. They picked they've cut down all the sugar cane. Let's give them a break now. You would have thought, would have said, you know what? Let's treat them a little bit good. Just so, you know, they can say, you know what? We ain't as bad as our forefathers. Listen, man. They're exactly the same as their forefathers, man. They're exactly the same. And the same thing happened in Egypt. And this is why we was in Egypt for all them years. We was in Egypt for so long that the Lord had to say, you know what? I've seen enough, man. The Lord said, you know what? I've seen enough in Egypt. And that's how we got the hell out of there. Read on. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that. And it says, and Joseph died, and all his brethren. Why? Because obviously Joseph was what? That time Joseph was ruling over Egypt at that time. Joseph was in charge and whatnot. So it said, so they treated Joseph good, and it said Joseph died and all his brethren and that generation. So that generation, all of our forefathers, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad. They all died, but obviously they had children. And same like we have children, same like our forefathers had children. We have children to do what? Carry on our bloodline. So they had children, and these Egyptians had started treating these children bad. Go ahead.
And the children of Israel were fruitful.
And the children of Israel were what?
Fruitful.
Shalom, Yahweh, Shabbat Kafar.
Shalom Yahweh, Shalom Shabbat Kafar.
And they said the children of Israel were fruitful. Now, our oppressor don't even like it when we're fruitful, man. Meaning what? He would rather you have no kids. He would rather, like you see as a black man where we have so much kids and we brag about it. This devil would rather us have no kids, man.
That's
would
right.
rather us be like him. And this is why what? They teach you this is why they teach you growing up. Don't have a child because you can't afford them. Don't have a child because they're too expensive. Go to university first and graduate. That's why they teach you this, man. Because they don't like to see us multiply. Whereas I've read the Bible a few times, man, and I ain't never seen the Lord say, go to uni first. I ain't never seen the Lord say, go and get a degree first. I ain't never seen the Lord say, do all this first before having a child. Listen, man, you don't need to do none of that. They teach us all of this nonsense. You must go to uni. Oh, yeah. How are you gonna have a child and you can't afford them? The thing is this: if we listen to our oppressor, we would never have kids, man, because we're never gonna be in a confident enough position to be able to afford anything. Listen, man, I know that keeps telling me he ain't having no kids till he has this big house and whatnot, man. And go ahead. So yeah, man. There's a brother I know, man. He's been saying for years, oh, I ain't having no kids until he gets a nice big house. Until he gets a nice big house. And listen, man, I know men that's had kids before him, and guess what? They're still making the same amount of money, man. The one with the kid and the ones without, it don't make a difference. If you're waiting for the right time to have a child, you're gonna be waiting your whole life.
Right.
Like the thing is this, man. White men plan children, but black people don't plan children, man. None of us weren't planned. Listen, my dad didn't plan me, man. He's told me a few times, man. My dad didn't plan me. He didn't plan me. Like which black man says we're gonna have sex tonight so we can make a baby? Nah, man. No, black man don't say that, man. He just sees his woman looking good and it happens, man. And then you get that text 3 months down the line, I think I'm pregnant. You get that text 3 months down the line, I think I'm pregnant. Yeah, everyone's been in that position. Your heart skips, and then you forget about it for a bit, and then you feel like depressed for a bit, but you don't know why you feel depressed. You feel depressed, but you don't know why you feel depressed. And then you remember, oh shit, I'm having a baby. Then you remember. Listen, man, every black man knows that story too well, man. We don't plan babies. We don't say, you know what, I'm gonna wait 10 years then have my first child. Nah, man. With us, it just happens. Read on.
Come. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly.
We increased abundantly. Like we increased abundantly, meaning we was having children on top of children on top of children. Whereas go back to our grandparents' generation, they had children on top of children, man. Like they had minimum of what? 6 kids, 7 kids. So we was fruitful and multiplying, whereas what? White families usually have 2 kids, 3 kids. Go ahead.
And they promoted as well. Like in their movies and whatnot, she said, "Mom, Dad, boy, girl first."
Boy first and girl.
Boy, like Simpsons, or maybe 3, or even like wife and kids.
Like they don't want you to have a ton of kids, man. When the thing is this, you can have as much kids as you want. All of this, I can't afford them. That's a lie, man. Now, the reason probably why most men don't want to have kids is because of what? Child support. And this is why you need to know who you're having kids with. That's the difference. You need to know who you're having kids with. All of this, kids is too expensive. It's not, man. You see all of these, you see all these baby foods you're buying from Asda for like £5 and £6. You can make it yourself. You see these banana? What is it? Just crushed banana. You just crush up a banana, man. You know that banana pudding. You just crush up a banana, and that's it, man. Or I think it's apple and banana. That was the nice. Was that the nice one? The apple and banana. Them kids never used to get that. So lucky it was 1 spoon for them, 3 spoons for me. So lucky that one tasted good, man. That apple and banana one, you can make that yourself. Now there's ways around it. What Esau sells you in the supermarkets, he sells you the most top dollar stuff when you can just make it yourself. You can just crush an apple and banana yourself, and it's the same thing. Whereas baby grows and whatnot, those ain't even too expensive either. And also in the I.S.U.P.K, man, I'm sure we got a few of them things right as well. We got all of that as well, man. So you don't need to be saying a baby's too expensive. Don't worry, man. We got the things you need for a baby right here, man. Read on.
God. And multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty.
And we multiplied and waxed mighty, and the Egyptians couldn't take it, man. Listen, the Egyptians understood there was a difference between two races. The Egyptians understood racism, man. The Egyptians wasn't like us who says Africans are black, so we're one in the same. If that was the case, these Egyptians wouldn't need to worry. They wouldn't need to worry about nothing. But they understood that depending on who your forefather is, that's what determines your nationality. They understood that, man. They understood them being the sons of Ham is different to us, who's the sons of Israel, and they seen us multiplying and becoming mighty. And in this earth, the same thing happens, man. We multiply and become mighty. So what happens? They put drugs in our neighborhood, so we sell them, go jail for 10 years, because they know what? Obviously, you're not a threat when you're in jail. So now they give you what? Homosexuality. So you become gay, because they know that way you're not going to multiply, and you're not a threat when you're a homosexual. Whereas the only way you're a threat is when you stand for something, man. They teach you not to stand for something. And this is why everybody in the world, most of them don't stand for a thing, man. Read on.
Come. And the land was filled with them.
And the what?
Land was filled with them.
And they hate to see the land filled with us, man. And this is why when a few black people gather, what happens? Someone calls the police. Police come out, want to search everyone. Said the land was filled with them, man. Now, imagine if we all got on, man. This country could be filled with us. That's right. All of us could be on in one spot. They have to do what? Segregate us and separate us. Have some in this area, some in that area. They make sure we don't get on, because they know if we come together, we're going to be mighty. If we come together, and the thing is this, if we come together, police can't come in our neighborhood and kill one of us, man. Right. But because we don't come together, they come in the neighborhood, they pick us off, and they've got this tactic that they use to make us fear them. Whereas really they're afraid of us, but they know we don't know our true power, man. They know we don't know our true power and our true strength. So they give us all of these things to break us up, man. Read on.
Now there arose a new king over Egypt who knew not Joseph.
Now there arose a new king over Egypt who knew not Joseph. He didn't respect Joseph or nothing. A new king, meaning a new person in charge. Like today, a new person in charge would be what? Your prime minister. Read on.
And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mighty than we.
And he said, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Meaning there's more of us than them. Now, imagine back then, if we had a strong leader, man. Now, this right here is before Moses. But imagine if we had a strong leader back then. We would have stood up to these Egyptians a long time ago, man. We would have done the right thing. Like now, because of commanding GEN.YAHANNA, we stand up to these devils, man. Now we get boot kisses and they don't like it, man. Imagine this, we the slaves and we make them kiss our boots. We the slaves and we tell them, listen, go fill up this donation bucket. We the slaves and we rule over them, man. And listen, this is in the future. That's how it's going to be in the future, man. But it takes strong men to stand up and do that. Like, people look at us like we're outrageous when we're in town and got these devils on their knees. Listen, man, people look at us like we're crazy and damn, how they got this white man on his knees and whatnot. They can't understand it. But listen, man, if you don't understand it now, you're going to understand it soon. You're gonna see it happen on every corner, man. Soon you're gonna see it happening in Liverpool, Manchester, all these cities in the country. You're gonna see it happening. Read on.
Come on, let us deal with them wisely.
And now Esau deals with us wisely today. He says, you know what? We can't have them black men getting degrees. So now what did they do? They have you not getting no degrees. Go ahead. Mm. 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 Oh, because there's a scripture where it says that scripture where it goes a poor man with wisdom ain't heard, but a rich man's heard. So Nick Cannon, he's like a celebrity, and people near enough worship celebrities. So as soon as a celebrity says something, everyone jumps on board. But when a black man from the ghetto, the thing is this: these same black people that live in the ghetto don't want to listen to a man from the ghetto because they just see him as nothing and he ain't got no power and no might, and what he's saying can't be true. But as soon as Nick Cannon says it. As soon as Nick Cannon says it, it must be true. As soon as I.S.U.P.K says it, it must be true. As soon as Kodak Black says it, as soon as Chingy says it, it must be true. Meanwhile, we've been saying, in the I.S.U.P.K, we've been saying this from 1969. But what? Because we ain't got money, and the reason is they're just respecters of persons. And this is the same reason why they didn't respect Christ. Because why? The respecter of persons. Christ didn't come all rich and whatnot. Now, if Christ came all rich and full of glory and everything, they would have listened to every word he had to say. But because you know he's a black man from the ghetto, from Nazareth, who wants to listen to him? I mean, outside of the truth, would you listen to some man from the ghetto telling you something? You're not going to want to listen. So they do exactly the same thing. That's the reason. Go ahead.
I think the Lord don't care. Like we care because like
Exactly.
Like people like Kodak Black, they in the truth, and then
exactly. Exactly. Boys to men. and this is why every fake Israelite group to find out a celebrity knows the Jews are black, and they get so happy. They think because someone says the Jews are black, they're in the truth. They think because one person says the Jews are black, they think that makes them in the truth. Listen, man, the truth is more than that, man. The truth is more than knowing the Jews are black. Listen, man, Judas knew the Jews was black, man. The Pharisees knew the Jews was black. All them disciples that left Christ knew the Jews was black. All the fake Israelite groups that rose up in Christ's time knew the Jews was black. I mean, Ricochet knows the Jews is black. I mean, it don't mean a thing, man. If you're not in this building, you're not in the truth. And I.S.U.P.K talking about the Jews are black. We've been saying this from 19. Listen, we've been from here that Jericho. We've been saying this is the truth, man. From here that Jericho and was loved up with Jerry Heller, and from Easy he was loved up with Jerry Heller. We've been saying the real Jews are black. Meanwhile, at this time, I.S.U.P.K thought Jerry Heller was a real Jew, man. But people would rather listen to him over us. People would rather listen to Kodak Black over us and Chingy. One stage, everyone's saying Chingy's in the truth. Where's Chingy right now? I'm sure Chingy had is Chingy the one that had the song Right Fair? Yeah. Listen, man, Chingy's got one song, man. Chingy's only said the Jews are black once, and he's got one song, Right Fair. That's it, man. I ain't heard from him since. Which next celebrity came out and said the Jews are black? Yeah, he come out and said the Jews are black, and I guarantee he still smokes weed, right? Listen, man, listen. I know tons of people who say the Jews are black and still get high. Like, honestly, everyone does it, and this is why I don't get happy about a celebrity knowing the Jews are black if it's not in here. Go ahead.
Mark 6:4, but Yahweh shall say unto them, a prophet is not known without honor.
He said what?
A prophet is not known without honor.
He said a prophet is not known without honor, man. Go ahead.
But in his own country and among his own kin and his house.
Listen, man, amongst it, and the thing is this: you see, amongst your own country, nobody wants to respect you, man. They've seen you growing up. They seen you before you was in the truth. So once you come in the truth, you start saying the Jews are black. They don't want to hear a word you gotta say. They're gonna be like, "Oh, you're such and such." And this is why when Christ was breaking down scriptures, the only thing they could say is this Joseph the carpenter's son. That's all they could say. They didn't want to listen. Imagine he's breaking down something heavy, and then you want to disregard what he's breaking down because he's the carpenter's son. There's a next one. See if you might be able to find it where it goes. Nah, there's a next one where I believe it's in Proverbs when it says the poor. It says a poor man with wisdom. Let me see if I can find it. See, the laptop comes in handy if it works. Let's see if it works. Is it working now? I don't think I can find it. It's probably one of them.
They go, the poor man's wisdom is despised.
Yeah, that's the one.
Ecclesiastes 9:16. Then said I, wisdom is better than strength.
Wisdom is what?
Better than strength.
Wisdom is better than strength, man. Because strength just means you're strong. But wisdom,
Right.
how to react in certain situations. Like being wise is better than strength. Because you can be so wise that what? You don't need to use that strength, man. Because you got wisdom. Read on.
Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised.
It says the what?
The poor man's wisdom is despised.
It says the poor man's wisdom is despised. And in the I.S.U.P.K, we them poor men whose wisdom is despised.
That's right.
People don't want to hear us. Why? Because we ain't got a Bentley. Because we ain't got a Rolls Royce. But we got wisdom, man, which is better than strength. Listen, man, our wisdom is what? Better than Mike Tyson's strength. But you want to listen to Mike Tyson, man? Who used to be on drugs before every fight, man? You ever listen to Mike Tyson? But us, because we them poor men, our wisdom is despised. We're telling you, come and serve God, and you're telling us go and get a job. We telling you come and serve God, and you say no, go get a job. And listen, a job ain't part of what we were saying, man. At least listen to what we're saying first. We're breaking down the scriptures, man. We're on the street. The thing is this: we're on the street, breaking down the scriptures, so we can save Israel, man. So we can save our brothers, man. But guess what?
That's right.
Our wisdom's despised, and then what happens? Black people end up getting killed. Black people end up getting killed, and then nobody's got no answer. What's his name? What's that? Something Jadu don't have the answer, man. Is that his name? Desmond Jadu don't have the answer, man, to black problems. Now he's got zeal, but he needs to leave this job to us, man. He don't have the answer. Now, what's that man's name in America? Al Sharpton don't have the answers, but people listen to him. The thing is this, man. Al Sharpton only comes out every time a black person dies. Why don't he come out while they're alive to prevent them from dying, man? That's the thing. In the I.S.U.P.K, we come out to prevent them from dying. That's what we do, man. We out in these, you see, before you die, we out in these streets telling you to change your life. It's our life duty to tell you to change your life. And then what do you tell us to go and do? Go and get a job. Like we ain't got jobs. Listen, man. And it's not even a job, it's a slavery, man. And the thing is this, if you've got a dream, you see, if you've got a dream job, that's a slave mentality, man. Imagine you having a dream job, and your dream job is you working for some white man, working for your oppressor. I mean, your dream is for you to work for your slave master. Listen, man, there's no such thing as a dream job. How can it be a dream for you to work for your oppressor, man? That don't sound like a dream to me. Listen, man. In here we have slaveries, and we don't like them, and we hate them, but you know we have to do it. We have to go there and do it, get our paycheck, and we go home. But as to say this is my dream job, I went to uni for 5 years and I've got my dream job. This is what women say, oh, I can't get with just any man because I've got my dream job. Listen, man, the thing is this. You work for a slave master, I work for a slave master. And you dreamed of working for your slave master, and I don't dream of working for mine. That's the difference, man. You think you think working for your slave master means something, like you think it makes you special, and you think it makes you better than everybody else because I got my dream job. Listen, man, why you're trying to get this dream job? Our dream is to run this whole earth, man. Our dream is to have our slave master picking cotton, man. Listen, man. But that's our dream, man. And the thing is this, our dream is going to come true. Our dream is gonna come true, man. Read on.
And his words are not heard.
And his words are not heard, man. And this is why when we say the Jews are black, nobody believes it. But when Ice Cube says the Jews are black, everyone believes it, man. Ice Cube, man, in every movie, Ice Cube has to get the. Have you noticed every movie Ice Cube has to get the girl? Like you can tell he scripts it and writes it himself. Every single movie, Ice Cube gets the girl, man. He gets the girl in Friday. He gets her in. Does he get her in next Friday as well? Yeah, he gets. I'm sure he gets one in Barbershop as well. Does he get one in Barbershop? What's the one where they got the safe? Where they find the safe at the end? The cash machine. I'm sure he gets the one in that one as well. There's none in that one. Listen, every movie Ice Cube has to get the girl, man. And this is how you know he writes it himself. He writes it and gives himself the best parts. He gets her in. He gets her in Friday. Every single Friday, he ends up getting the girl in what? And he gets number 2, man. Yeah. Always, man. He always comes in, slick, ends up in their bedroom somehow. Listen, man. Ice Cube ain't that. Ice Cube ain't that slick, man. But Ice Cube says Jews are black, and everyone believes him. Ice Cube needs to be saying, you know what? I learned this from Commanding General Yohanna in the I.S.U.P.K, man. That's what Ice Cube. Ice Cube should have put. I learned this from Commanding General Yohanna, but obviously he don't want to do that. Read on.
That was the end of it.
Nah, that's it. Tazquan, give me Exodus chapter 1 and verse 11.
God.
Actually 10.
10. God. Exodus chapter 1, verse 10. Come on, let us deal wisely with them.
He said, come on, let's deal wisely with them. Now, you think Esau ain't read this Bible and seen how the Egyptians dealt with the Israelites? Listen, man. You think why they not read the Bible? They read it, man. And this is why what? Everything you see in the UK and whatnot, all over the earth is structured after the Bible. Where is their court system? Their laws used to be based on the Bible as well. And all of those kind of things, man. All of those things used to be based off the Bible. Read on.
God. Let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there be falling out any war.
Let us deal wisely with them. So now they teach you, don't have no children, get your dream job, go to college, uni, get your dream job. So now life goals is what? Having a mortgage. That's life goals. Life goals is having a mortgage, man. Listen, man, I don't mind having a council house and calling the white man the devil while he pays my rent, man. Listen, I don't care. I'll make him pay my rent while I call him the devil, man. You people, go get a job, go get a job. I'll make the devil pay my rent, man. And call him a devil at the same time. What do I care? Getting a mortgage ain't no life goal to me. Because what happens is they can take that house off you anytime, man. They can take the house off you any single time, and then they try to scam you with this there's some scheme that they like to do now. It's you pay half, they pay half, and then when the house is worth a decent amount of money, you sell it, and they probably get the bigger chunk depending how much percent they put in, or you pay them interest. That's what the bank do. The bank give you a loan, and then you pay interest to the bank, which works out like you're paying for that house twice, man. I see people with their new keys saying, "Oh, I'm this age and just got my first mortgage." Listen, man. We all can get a mortgage, All you do is go to the bank, and get a loan. That's it. It's not that hard. All you do is go to the bank, It's not that hard. Listen, man, there's more to life than that, man. Put God first, man. Putting God first is better than a mortgage, man. Right. Listen, once this boiler breaks and the heating breaks, and then you ain't got the money to pay for it, you're gonna be messaging us. I've used it in the UPK. You got any spare blow heaters? You're going to be asking us if you got any spare blow heaters, any spare blankets. Listen, man, sometimes just be humble, man. But put God first, man. And all things can be added onto you. Put God first, then you can have the house. Put God first, then you can have whatever you desire. Right. It's lawful, man. Read on.
God. Lest they multiply, and it come to pass when there is a fall, and there be a falling. That when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight Yes.
They're afraid that what if if there was any war, we would join their enemies, man. Because nations have enemies, and they said, you know
Right.
what, we better get these people in check, man. Because they know what you leave it up to us, we're gonna take over, man. And even now, they know leave it up to us, we're gonna take over. So what do they
Right.
do? What do they do? They brainwash our people against us.
God.
Like, do you think a black man came up with it on his own to say that I.S.U.P.K is a cult and the this and the that? What happens is through media, the white man writes his articles, and then
Right.
he bastardizes what we do and makes us appear evil, makes us appear unrighteous, and then to the unlearned, they look at it and be like, you know what? What this article read is this article said that the evil. This article said they abuse their women. This article said whatnot. I had someone say to me the other day that us Israelite that the head Israelites make their woman kiss their feet and all of this stuff. I said, well, where? I said, well, which Israelites do you know that's doing that? I said, listen, I said, in the I.S.U.P.K, we're the only Israelites, and we love our women, man. Actually,
Right.
hold that scripture there because we're gonna go back there. Give me Ephesians 5:22, beans, as we're talking about this. Actually, I'm gonna have Officer Karafi pull it. Actually, Ephesians 5:22. So like I say that again. It's like I said again. I hear you. So lucky. Ephesians 5:22.
Ephesians 5:22. Wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as unto the Lord.
Give me the one where it says loves your wives. It says submit yourselves unto your own husbands. Now they see that. And think that means beat up your wife. No, man. We don't harm our wives, man. Our wives love us, man. Our wives love us, man. Our wives don't do what Jada Pinkett did, man. In here, our wives don't do what Jada Pinkett did, man. Our wives don't say, I ain't felt good in a long time, man. Our wives don't have sex with underage boys, man. Like what Jada Pinkett did, man. Listen, man. You say that people say in here we treat our wives bad. How about you women in the world treat their husbands bad, man? Will Smith
That's right.
up there with an upset face, man. And imagine this: Will Smith's what, 51? Imagine being 51 and your woman tells you she's had sex with a man that's 28, man. A man that's 28, like half your age. Imagine your woman tells you she's had sex with a man that's half your age, man. She's telling you he's young and he made her feel good. Can you imagine how Will Smith feels, man? Because as you get on in age, obviously, you're not in your prime no more, man. As you get older in age, you're not in your prime no more. And listen, man, Jada, listen. If Will Smith went and got some young woman, do you know the whole world would be against him, man? If Will Smith found some woman that used to be on drugs and he got her off drugs, helped her, and then had sex with her, the thing is this, man. Will Smith would be going to jail, man. But Jada Pinkett ain't going to jail. I mean, if Jada Pinkett don't go to jail, you need to free R. Kelly, man. There's no difference between Jada Pinkett and R. Kelly. What you say? But that young. Listen, man, it's about the same age. It's about the same age.
Verse 25. Husbands, love your wives.
Hold on, what did the Bible say?
Husbands, love your wives.
The Bible says love your wives, man. So people thinking here we treat our wives like garbage. Listen, man. If you're a woman not in here, you've never been loved before.
That's right.
If your man doesn't tell you you're not going out in that miniskirt, you haven't been loved before.
That's right.
If your man don't tell you you're not going to the club with your whole friends, you ain't been loved before, man.
Right.
That's right.
Your friends are saying, your friends say, she has to let her man know where she's going. The thing is this: the reason you have to let us know where we're going is because if you don't return, we're coming out to rescue you, man.
That's right.
Listen, we're coming out to rescue you and save you, man. We're coming on horses and everything, man. Whereas a man who don't care where you go, he just don't care. Men in here do care. That's what love is. Go ahead. Right. 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 And I missed that. Exactly. Like the sister said, man. And this is one of the sisters who's married to a priest in the UPK, man. So it helps you with better money monitoring and everything, which is true. Leave it up to a woman with no head. She's gonna get that. She's gonna go get a Birkin bag, whereas a man will be like, "Don't waste money on that. Do this with the money. Do that with the money." In here, we love our wives, man, and we don't want you to go out and shame yourself. Go ahead.
So a woman will say a man in the street is wrong. You can tell us what to do, what to dress.
Mm.
Then go marry a man that makes you smuggle coke in every time.
Exactly.
And hold guns to them.
Exactly. This man will have you leave a gun in the house, whereas in here, we don't put our women in harm's way. Why? Because we love them, man.
Right.
And listen, man, our wives are happy. All you miserable women all you miserable women that are single in everybody's business, the reason you're single is why? Because you don't allow a man to rule over you, man. You don't allow a man to tell you what to wear and what not to wear. So you're miserable and you're bitter and you're jealous of our women. That's what it comes down to. You're jealous of our women. Really, you pretend that you really women in the world try and belittle the women in the school and say, "Oh, she listens to her, man." Listen, man. What's wrong with listening to you, man? The reason why you don't have a man is because you don't listen. The reason why the man you had sex with last night that blocked you this morning is because you don't listen.
That's right.
And you're gonna have sex with a new man tonight as well, and he's gonna block you as well because you don't listen. Go ahead. Yeah, exactly. And they say you brainwash it in a coat. Exactly. They say we're brainwashed in a coat. Listen, man. The women in here, man, they ain't whores like the women in the world, man.
That's right.
All these women out there, they got an opinion, man. They just got an opinion. And the thing is this, they always think their opinion's right. Who cares about their opinion, man? Who cares what they think about? Who cares what they think? Listen, man. They're not part of this relationship, man. Like, who cares what they think? The thing is, you got women that will argue with a man about multiple wives. The thing is, man, why don't she just shut her mouth? She's never going to be one of our wives, man. We don't want you, man. You arguing with us about we can't have multiple wives. Whether we have a million wives or one, you're never going to be one of them, man. The Lord did you a favor when he said a man can have more than one wife. Because if a man could only have one wife, you ain't going to be the first pick. You're going to be single forever, moaning about, a man can't have multiple wives. The Lord done you a favor, man, by putting multiple wives in place. Because it gives you a chance of getting a man. But because you're so loud and so horrible and so miserable, no man would never pick you if you could only have one wife. If a man could only have one wife, you see like how in school in PE, how the worst footballer gets picked last. Listen, that would be you, man. You wouldn't get picked if a man could only have one wife. You need to be thanking the Lord for multiple wives, man. The Lord done you a favor, moaning about a man can't have multiple wives. Read on.
Husbands, love your wives.
The Bible says, love your wives, man. And we love our wives, man. And we don't care about your silly opinion. Oh, your women are brainwashed. We love our wives, man. We're in love, man. Let us be in love, man. It's like you don't want a woman to love us. Let our woman love us, man. What business is it of yours, man? We love and we're happy, and our women are happy, man. Why are you trying to make them miserable and bitter? Let them love us, man. And Christ told us to love them. Go ahead.
Jada and Will are swingers.
Exactly. Exactly.
But our women got to be brainwashed.
Exactly.
Also to save our women from us.
Right.
They're brainwashed in harm's way. When a man shares his wife with a stranger, man.
Exactly.
And their business, fine.
Exactly. These are going all these swingers clubs, having sex with everybody. And this ain't the first time Jada's cheated on Will. If you think this is the first time, listen, man. She's been married to Will Smith for what, 23 years? She's been married to Will Smith for 23 years. Really, Jada's ideal man was Tupac. Really, that was her ideal man. Her ideal man was Tupac, but obviously, in her eyes, Tupac's like a womanizer that all the women loved. So obviously, she knows, you know what? I can't be with him. But the same thing she wouldn't be with Tupac for doing is the same thing she's doing to Will Smith, man. Go ahead.
Right.
Exactly. And this is why when you behave like Will Smith, your woman is going to cheat on you, man. The thing is this, man. Women don't like women don't like them corny men like Will Smith, man. The thing is this, man. Will Smith was more corny than Carton, man. Listen, Will Smith was worse than Carton, man. All them dances and the thing is, you see that woman that was beating up Will Smith in the in one of them Fresh Princes. Remember in the with the boxing gloves. Listen, man, that's the real Will Smith, man. Women bully him, and women know which kind of man they can walk over. Like marrying Will Smith is the safe bet. Really, Will Smith ain't the man she wanted, but Will Smith is the safe bet. Like women in the world do that. They go with the safe bet. Like they go with the man that will never leave them. They go with the man that, you know, I can cheat on him and he's just going to take me back. I can cheat on him and cry and he's going to say, oh, don't worry about it. Like they go with the safe option. Whereas Jada knows if she got a real man, them things won't be able to happen, man. Shortening his name, Org, talking about I got into an entanglement. Listen, man. Yeah, them things can only run with Will Smith, man. Those things can only run with Will Smith, man. She couldn't do those things to them. You see those men that spun Will Smith around on the basketball court? She can't do that to them men, man. You see in the start of the Fresh Prince, the men that spun him around. Listen, that dark skin one with the hat. She can't do that to the dark skin one with the hat, man. But she can do that to Will Smith because she sees some weakness in him, man. Read on.
Even as Christ also loved the church.
Even as what?
Christ also loved the church.
Listen, man, said love your wives, man. Even as Christ also loved the church. Meaning what? What did Christ do? Christ gave his life for the Israelites, man. Christ gave his life for them, for the Israelites. And this is what we do for our wives. Whereas men in the world ain't giving their life for that woman. They don't care whether she lives or dies. They don't care.
Right.
And you say that we evil and we are cold. When we what? Willing to die for our wives. And we're willing to kill for our wives, man. And we've gone through Hebrew Academy, man. So be careful. We've done Hebrew Academy. So be careful, man. The thing is this. A man in the world does what? Like the officer brought out, they leave guns in their house, leave drugs in their house. That's a man that doesn't love his wife. Because a man that didn't love his wife wouldn't want to see his wife in jail, man. Whereas men in here, we protect our wives, man.
Right.
And this is why we ask them, where you going? What time you going to be home? I'm going to phone you at this time. Let me know. Go ahead. Exactly. And bring them into jail for them. Make you bring things into jail for them, man. Meanwhile, in here, we love our wives, man. Outside of here, women outside of here don't know what it's like to be loved. And those women don't know what it's like to be loved because their whole life, most of them has had no father and they've been treated like garbage. And every man they've ever had has treated them like garbage and ain't cared about what they've done and don't give a damn about what they do. Meanwhile, in here, we love our wives, man. Read on.
Oh, sorry. And gave himself for it.
Go ahead.
That he might sanctify it and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word.
Christ died, man. So what he could, so that what we had a chance to change and that he could cleanse us, man. And he washed us by what? The washing of the word, man. That's how he washed us, man. Like what? Water usually makes you clean. But here it's saying what? By the washing of the word. Meaning these words make you clean. Because once you hear these words, you stop eating pork. You stop eating shrimp. You stop eating crab. You stop eating lobster. So these words make you clean. Read on.
Come, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle.
And listen, man, we love our wives, man. We love our wives, man. So they don't have no spot or wrinkle, man. That's why we the way we are, man. I mean, which man wants to be on the street and hear, oh yeah, your wife had sex with this man? Which man wants to be sitting around the red table to talk about your wife having sex with another man? And you have to sit there and listen to it, man. We love our wives, so that don't happen, man. We check them when it needs to be, so that don't happen. Read on.
Spot or wrinkle or any such thing, that it should be holy and without blemish.
And listen, man, our wives, the reason why women in the world hate our women, why? Because our women in here is holy, man.
That's
women
right.
in here is holy. Women in here is the opposite to the women out there, man. Women in here understand their body needs to be covered, man. They understand they shouldn't be twerking on no Instagram. They understand they don't need to be going Turkey for some BBL like so many stupid women do. They understand. They don't need an opinion like They realize they don't need an opinion like what's her name, Miss R Fabulous. I can't stand her, man. Ooh, Miss R Fabulous. I can't stand Miss R Fabulous, man. You can't stand her either. Is that her name, Renee? I can't stand her, man. I can't stand Miss R Fabulous. I can't stand ZZ Mills. Those is the kind of women out there with opinions, man, and with no man. And the reason they do have a man is just they got a man for now. But listen, their relationship ain't gonna last long, especially with their opinions. Read on. Actually, touch upon a drop that we'll go back to where we was back in Exodus. I believe it was in Exodus.
Chapter 1, verse 11, I believe. Oh, so let's start from 10 other ones. Lucky.
Yeah, go ahead.
God. Exodus 1 and 10. Come and let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, that they join also unto our enemies and fight against us. So get them up out of the land.
Yeah, listen, man, the Egyptians just couldn't stand to see you multiplying. We weren't causing no harm. We was minding our business multiplying. Esau can't see. Esau hates to see you multiplying. Read on. Oh, was he say something? Oh. Go ahead, Pastor Paul.
God one card. Verse 11. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters that afflicted them with their burden, and they built
them to set over them taskmasters. And what they usually do is set taskmasters of your own people over you. And this is why they do this. They do this so they can be like, oh, well, such and such is black and he's a manager. They do this in the police force. Such and such is black and he's a police officer. And then what happens? They come down on the taskmasters, and the taskmasters come down on you, man. And then you blame the black man because you think, you know what? Like, there's a black manager I know called Mike, man. I couldn't stand him. Mike here was the worst black man I've ever come across. He's a black man you don't want to be like, man. He was a black man who you don't want to be like. You see, if there's a black man who you don't want to be like, his picture would be next to it, man. He was that man. And all this time, I thought it was him that was the problem. And it comes down to the people that was over him, man. They put him in a position to oppress us, man. And listen, Mike was good at oppressing black people, man. And he was a black man himself. He was excellent at oppressing black people on the job. Read on. This man would deduct money at your age. Go ahead, Tasapwan.
God, just like in slavery, when you know the white man would get the other black man to crack the whip, you know, to beat the slave, innit? Just
same thing, man. Same thing, man. So they would put a taskmaster over you, usually of your own race. So when all these afflictions coming on you and all these beatings and whatnot, you're thinking it's your own people doing it to you, when really the man in charge of him is coming down on him, and that's why he's coming down on you. And this is why they try and get black people to join the police force. And then if a black man does kill a black man on the job, they're going to be like, oh, well, a black cop killed a black man. It's blah, blah, blah. When really, yeah, a black cop did kill a black man, but the thing is this, it's because his white counterparts gassed him up to do it, man. His white he is a representation of his white counterparts. He's just carrying out their work. Read on.
And fight against us, and so get them up out the land. Slakia, no, Pastor. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities.
Their burdens, man, meaning what? Because the sin was multiplying, they gave us so much work, man, to run us off course, to run us off track. They gave us so much work to do. Jobs on top of, well, slaveries on top of slaveries on top of slaveries. Pick this, pick that, build this, build that. And people make out like the pyramids is something great, man. What is it? Just brick, straw, and water. Brick, straw, mud, and water. It's nothing great, man. People make out like what? The pyramids is in line with the stars. And listen, man, pyramids is not that big of a deal, man. People are excited about a pyramid, man. That's nothing, man. Oh, the Egyptians did this. Listen, man, we was their slaves, man. We built them, man. The Egyptians didn't build anything. All the Egyptians did was oppress us and make us build them. All the pyramid is what, like a giant graveyard, a giant gravestone, man. That's all it is, man. Egyptians are so dumb. They bury all their dead with all the gold and the jewelry. When why not just give it to the ones who's alive to sell it and make some money, man? They'd rather bury that with a dead man, which makes no sense. Some people actually go ahead.
Yeah, and with their slaves as well, innit?
You know, they used to kill. Yeah, they used to bury them with their slaves. Why? Because they believe in the afterlife, they're gonna need slaves in the afterlife. The thing is this, man. We're gonna have Egyptian slaves right here on the earth, man. That's what we're gonna have, Egyptian slaves right here on the earth. I'm gonna make an Egyptian slave build me a pyramid and see if he knows how to do. I'm gonna see if he knows what to do, man. I'm gonna make him build me a pyramid. Listen, man, we're gonna have these things while we live. We don't need to die to have these things. That's a big lie, man. Read on.
Right. And so like the other one as well, if I may, just like the America, you know how they lined it all out, that's perfectly lined out. You know how the pyramids are perfectly lined out. So's the down the, you know, the can't remember what the strip is called, but you know how they lined out Washington, is it? Washington DC, how they line it all out, just looking like Egypt.
Yeah, all of it looks the same. They got the same monuments that they had in Egypt and whatnot.
Right.
They even got a building which was shaped like the Tower of Babel and whatnot. All of those kind of things. Like the fashion, these things after old civilizations. So things that you see now, it's nothing new. Like things that you see now, it's things which they've had in the past. What it is, we think the white man created something and we think it's new. When honestly, most of these things ain't new. Most of these things is old things, man. That they've just enhanced. Read on.
That's right. God. And they built for Pharaoh treasured cities, pythons, and Ramses.
And they built treasured cities, man. Go ahead.
God. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew.
And listen, the more they afflicted us, they was afflicting us. Why? They was afflicting us because why? They didn't want us to rule, man. They didn't want us to overtake them. So that's why they was afflicting us. And this is why they afflict you right now for the same thing. Because they know, leave it up to us. We're going to run this whole earth. They would rather us not run this whole earth. So they know, for their kingdom to go on for longer, what do they have to do? Make sure black men are smoking crack. Make sure black men are taking drugs. Make sure our women are whores. That's what they need to do. They need to do all those things. So we don't overtake them.
Right.
Read on. Instead of us being priests and prophets, they'd rather you be a drug dealer. Because they know what? A prophet of God is a dangerous man. They know drug dealer don't hold no weight. But because people worship the rich, people see the car, the house, and think, this man's made it. Listen, man. What we do in the I.S.U.P.K is dangerous to Esau's society, man. And they see their kingdom falling down. And this is why when we at camp and when we do these classes, they hate it, man. And this is why they would rather every black man not be in here. Because they know if every black man wasn't here, guess what? That's less black men selling drugs on the corner, man. That's less women being whores on the corner, man. They know once we're all in here, there's less of that. They know once we come together, it's over for them, so they'd rather us not come together. Read on.
That's right. God. The more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel.
And there was grief because of us, man. There was angry and mad because of us. Like, bearing in mind, we ain't causing no harm. We're just trying to, you know, go about our business. Trying to live. We're living in Egypt at this time. We're living in Goshen. They did what? Come and enslave us. Don't want us to live. Don't want us to be happy or nothing. Read on.
God. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor.
And listen, man. They caused us to serve in horrible conditions, man. With rigor, man. They had us serving with horrible conditions. They was treating us bad, whipping us, everything. Read on.
God. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage.
And they made our lives bitter. And what you're seeing right now in England, our life is bitter, man. This ain't happiness. Our life ain't sweet. This ain't sweet. If you think your life's sweet, you're a good slave, man. If you think life's sweet, it's because your life's been bitter for so long that you don't know the difference, man. You don't know the difference between bitter and sweet because you've been living this bitter life for so long. Read on.
And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar
and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, man. And that's what we get, hard bondage. Meaning they gave us some slavery, man.
Right.
Same like they gave us slavery 400 years ago. Nothing ain't changed. And this is a race thing. People think it's nothing to do with race. This has everything to do with race, man. Because if it didn't have nothing to do with race, they wouldn't have came so far to enslave you. Like when they enslaved you, they knew who was enslaving.
That's
they knew
right.
the difference between us and the Africans. That's why they didn't take the Africans, only took us. Read on.
And they made our lives bitter with hard bondage in brick and in mortar and in brick and in all manner of service in the fields.
All manner of service in the field, man. Listen, man. This is the same thing that happened to us on the cotton field, man. They made our life bitter with all manner of service, whether it was on the house slave, whether it was the outside, the one outside. Get me? No matter where you was, they made our life hard. They patterned this slavery after Egypt, man. They seen what worked in Egypt. They seen what worked in Egypt and done exactly the same thing, man. Read on.
And Salakia down in the cane fields and the tobacco fields.
Right, exactly. Made our life bitter, man. Read on.
And all their services wherein they made them to serve was with rigor.
And listen, man, we had hardship on every side. Read on.
And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of whom the name of one was Shipra, and the name of the other Pua.
Go ahead.
God. And he said, when we do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women and see them upon the stool.
So now imagine you would have thought them enslaving us was just enough. Now the king of Egypt now wants them to kill our babies, man. Imagine these children ain't even born yet, and he wants them dead. He's saying to them, when you do the what's it called? The office of a midwife, meaning the job of a midwife, kill the men, man. That's what he's saying. Read on.
And the office of a midwife, and see them upon the birthing stool. If it be a son, then ye shall kill him.
And he said, what? If it be a son, then ye shall kill him. Why? Because they know the seeds in the man. And they know this son has the ability to be the prophet of God. They know that this son has the ability to deliver his whole nation, man. And the Egyptians, that's why the Egyptians dealt wisely and said, if it be a son, kill him, man. And this is why now they're trying to do so much things to turn our sons gay. Because they know, if it be a son, they know this son can hold some weight, man. They know this son can be a prophet of God. But if you're homosexual, you can't be a prophet of God. You're just going to go to the church, bang the tambourine, and sing all day. Now, this king said, if it be a son, kill him, man. Read on.
Another one can. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live.
And he goes, if it be a daughter, then she shall live. So they said, kill the men and let the women live. And that's what's going on today, man.
That's right.
Even though some of our men are alive, they're killing them with these long jail sentences, man. 30 years in jail is like a death sentence, man. This is why black men get harsh sentences. Because why? They're trying to kill our men, man. If they're not trying to kill us when we come out the womb or before that, they're trying to kill us some way, or they're trying to make us kill each other. This is why they make us kill each other, man. Because they know how important we are. Read on.
And slap. Oh,
was you going to say something?
I'll leave it. It's okay.
All right, no, sir.
God. But the midwives feared God and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them.
And they feared God, man, and didn't do what the king of Egypt commanded them. Go ahead.
That's right. Commanded them, but saved the men children alive.
And he said, save them. But they saved the men children alive. And this is why what? They got all these adverts telling you get rid of your kids and this and all of those things, man. Telling you do this and do that. They got all them kind of adverts. The king of Egypt wanted the same thing, man. He wanted them boys thrown in the river. He didn't want them to grow. He wanted them dead. Go ahead.
And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have you done this thing? And have saved the men children alive.
So now he come and said, why have you done this thing and saved the men children alive? I said to kill them. Because this man knew, this king knew what? That a young black child, an Israelite, is a threat to his nation, man. That's why he wanted them dead. He wanted, now he knew this thing. Read on.
And the midwife said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women.
And it says because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, man. Meaning our sisters ain't like them Egyptian women. Read on. It tells you why.
For they are lively.
For they are lively. Go ahead.
And are delivered. Here the midwives come unto them.
So what happened is what? The Egyptian women, they was in labor for all of 24, 48 hours. The Israelite women, they was lively, man, and they had already given birth before the midwives came in, man. It says the Hebrew women ain't like them Egyptian women. Like some of these white women is in labor for 2 weeks straight. Go ahead. Yeah, basically, yeah, there was meant to be. They was gonna throw them in the river and whatnot. So that's what they've done. But our women, our women was lively. So before the midwives had the chance to come and do any of this, they had already given birth. And this is how it usually goes. Like usually our women's labor is quick. I think the Lord just knows us men ain't got no patience to be sitting there for all of 2 weeks waiting for this baby to come. I think the Lord knows us black men ain't got that kind of patience. Whereas Africans will be in labor for what 2 weeks. Africans will be in labor for 2 weeks. And this is what it says, our women are lively. So our women go in labor and that baby comes out within what? Few hours. A day, few hours. I think the most I'll probably be able to do is what, 5 hours, 6 hours? Couple hours and I'm done. Like what about you? What about you,
Like you say that again, sir.
What about you? How much hours you this labor room? How much hours you willing to wait?
Oh God, I'm kind of patient when it comes to things like that. Still, you get me? So I'll wait.
Listen, man, all this pay, I don't know, but our women are lively. Whereas you see them Egyptian ones, you're gonna be taking a month off work because she's in labor, and 1 minute with them.
Salakia. So I'm not gonna wait that long. I'm talking like out, throughout the day. You know what I mean? 6 hours, 8 hours. No, 2 weeks, 3 weeks a week. You know what I mean? No.
I'd say about what 12 hours.
Yeah.
About 12 hours, man. 12 hours. That's it. Anything longer than that, I don't know. But so the Hebrew women are lively, meaning before the midwives could go in, they had already given birth. And the Egyptian women, their labor was long and long and long, meaning 4 days, 5 days. Whereas with us, with our women, them labor pains come, and then next minute the baby's there. Read on. Next minute, years for like what babies cry for about what 2, 3 years, about 3 years, 4 years. Is it that long? Is it that long? I'm sure it's about that. I think you can have some of your life back after. Is it 4 years? Once they're old enough to go on the iPad and not put everything in their mouth and do silly things, which is about what? Is it 4 years?
About 4 years, I don't.
About 4 years.
Yeah.
You finally can get some rest when they're about 4. And the good thing is, If you got an older child, you give that older child your responsibility is make their breakfast, make them a drink, put Blippy on the laptop for them and all these programs. Is that it's called Blippy? Blippy, put Baby Shark. Is that it's called Baby Shark? What's the next one? Put Paw Patrol on for them and listen on all of these silly programs. Paw Patrol, Bing, Blippy. If you got older child, it works out. You just call the older one, put this on for them. Read on.
God. Therefore, God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God and did, feared God, and that he made them houses.
Go ahead.
God.
Go ahead.
And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born, he shall cast into the river.
And it goes,
and
every son that is born, you shall cast into the river. So now, Pharaoh wanted them midwives to kill them babies, man. But they didn't. So then he devised the next plan. Okay, then. Every child that is born, cast it into the river. Why? So they could drown, man. Drop that and give me Matthew chapter 2 and verse 11. Officer Croft is going to pull that in the class.
Right.
Yeah, Matthew 2 and verse 11. Now, I'm going to show you how the white man tried to do the same thing, man.
Matthew 2 and 11. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary and his mother, and bowed down and worshipped.
Now, this is the wise men. Now, they came to Christ and reverenced him. Go ahead.
And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. Oh,
and this is what people use this to say. What? Why they give presents on Christmas? Listen, man. The thing is this: these wise men knew that this man is the king. And what happens when you go to see a king or a queen? You bring gifts. Like some Hamites brought Queen Elizabeth some wooden nonsense. I reckon she's probably threw it away by now. What's some nonsense? But when you go to see a king or a queen, you bring a gift. And this is why when Queen Sheba came to see Solomon, she brought him gifts. Why? Because that's how you show your reverence. You bring them gifts. That's all it is. This had nothing to do with Christmas and Christmas presents. And at this time, it wasn't his birthday, man. It said there was in the house the young child. So people make it, oh yeah, the day he was born, they came with gifts. Nah, man, that's a lie. They brought gifts because they knew he was the king. How did they know he was the king? Because they saw his star and followed it to the location. Read on.
Come. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And
they brought him gold, frankincense, and myrrh, man. Go ahead.
So that's why people think it's 3 wise men.
Oh, is that why? Three types of gifts. Listen, man, it doesn't tell you, man, how much there was. But people think what? So one gave him frankincense and myrrh, one gave him gold, and one gave him what? Silver. That's what they think. Listen, man, if that's the case, why are you bringing iPads and all of this nonsense, man? It don't make no sense. Jesus Christ wasn't born December. Even the man who you think is Jesus Christ, Caesar Borgia, wasn't even born in December, man. Caesar Borgia was born, I'm sure, was it probably August sometime. It gives you on the internet, but to say the man you really worship, Caesar Borgia, his birthday is not even in December. So really, what are you celebrating? Read on.
And being warned of the Most High in a dream, that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way.
So now it says these men departed into their own country, meaning what? Their own land, wherever they was from. They departed, and they was warned in a dream, not to return. Why? Because Herod was going to press them like, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Herod knew something. Read on.
Come. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. And
what? Herod wanted to kill this young child, man. The same thing the Egyptians wanted to do. Now, they want to kill our children, man. Same way they wanted to kill Christ. Same way they wanted to kill us in Egypt. Nothing changes. And Herod was an Edomite man that what? Copied after the Egyptians, man. The Egyptians wanted to kill us. He wants to kill Christ. And what did he do? You see how Herod, you see how the king of Egypt at the time wanted all them babies dead. Now Herod wants all our babies dead, the same thing, man. There's no difference. Read on.
Verse 14, when he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt.
And this is how you know Christ wasn't no white man, because you don't hide a white man in Egypt. He would stick out like a sore thumb. You don't hide a white man in Egypt. It doesn't make no sense, man. Hiding a white man in Egypt. How does that make sense? That's how you know Jesus Christ. Listen, if Jesus Christ was a white man, they would have hid him in Russia, or they would have hid him in Ukraine, or they would have hid him in Germany. That's where they would have hid him, man. You don't hide a white man in Egypt. And this is why Oscar Pistorius sticks out like a sore thumb in South Africa, man. This is why all the white men stick out like a sore thumb in South Africa. Why? Because they're not the original South Africans. Read on.
Right.
And so verse 15, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt I called my son.
And that's in Jeremiah 31. Read on.
And then when when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men.
Now he saw that it was mocked of the wise men. Why? Because he wanted these wise men to return and tell him about where the child was. But the Lord showed him in a dream, don't return to Herod. Just go about your business. So when he saw that they didn't return and he saw that it was mocked, Herod was waiting for them to come. Imagine being the king. The king, people follow you every order. These wise men was wise because they followed God instead of Herod, man. If they Herod, they would have returned to Herod, but they didn't, man. Read.
But Herod saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceedingly wroth, and sent forth and slew all children that were in Bethlehem.
And he killed all the children that was in Bethlehem, man. All them Israelites, man. And you telling me we should love everybody. Listen, man. The white man's been killing us from when we lived in Bethlehem, man. You know how long ago that was? Listen, man. He's been killing us from when Christ was a baby, man. From when we lived in Bethlehem. Even before that, man. We've always been fighting our oppressors. Even the time of the Maccabees was killing us and whatnot. Go ahead.
From 2 years old and under.
From 2 years old and under. Imagine you had a baby, man. This is your child that you love. And they snatch at your baby and kill your child, man. Imagine that. They kill your child, man. And then people have the cheek to say, oh, you men in the I.S.U.P.K, you're evil, you're in a cult. Listen, man. We standing up for what's right, man. You know why we're standing up for what's right? Because we could have been killed as a child, man. That's right. We could have been killed 2 years and under. But the Lord allowed us to live, man, to get up in here, man, and tell our oppressor that he's the devil, man. Right. The Lord allowed us to live, man. The Lord allowed Christ to live, man, so Christ could do the same thing that we're doing right now.
And select the other one. Select the other one. And to prevent our people, our children dying in the future, man, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly. And that's what we're doing, man. We saving lives right now, man.
That's right.
By us being in the I.S.U.P.K and raising brothers up, we saving lives right now, man. All of us in here is supposed to be dead. But because Christ died so that we can come back, we give our lives, man. We give our lives to the service of the Lord, man. Read on.
Verse 17. Then, verse 16, the middle of 16, and in all the coast thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men.
So he inquired of the wise men 2 years before, and then now he's killing everybody that's about the age group, because he knows, all right, then there's a king that's coming out of there that's going to be a threat to my kingdom. Go ahead.
And it's true that Christ 2 years.
Right, exactly. 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 He was killing the babies 2 years and under and whatnot. Because he knew, you know. Go ahead.
Also, like, they know the same as now, innit? There's 144,000. And so that's going to rise up.
Right.
So,
and they know and that's right. They know. There's 144,000. The governing body of Israel, they know. So they know,
Right.
you know what? We need to stop everyone from getting in the I.S.U.P.K. because everyone that they get, they're closer to that 144,000. They know that. So they'd rather you be some drug dealer. They'd rather you be a swinger like Will Smith, if that's true. They'd rather you be a homosexual and all of those things. Because they know them homosexuals ain't part of the 144,000. So they'd rather you do all that. Read on.
God. Then was fulfilled that was spoken of the prophet Jeremy, the prophet saying, in Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping, and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children.
Reaping for her children, man. Why? Because they're all been murdered, man. Listen, man. Our people still weep for. Listen, our people still weep for our children today, man. This is thousands of years ago. The Lord says the land wept when we went into captivity, man. Why? Because the people that's in there now ain't giving it no rest. They're raping the land, man. They ain't doing it correct. And the thing is this, man, the Lord's going to restore us one day. It might not be tomorrow, but one day we will be in our land.
That's right.
The children, I will not be comforted.
And listen, man, how can we be comforted when Mark Duggan's body's stiff in the street, man? How can we be comforted seeing black men with a police officer's knee on his neck and he's saying, I can't breathe? And the police officer saying, if you can talk, you can breathe. And then he's saying, don't resist. The thing is this, man, you resist if someone's hurting you.
Right.
You resist if someone's hurting you, man. Like what are you going to do? Be in pain and just stay there. That don't make no sense, man. He's trying to move his neck because you're hurting it. And the white man says, oh, don't resist. Give me Exodus chapter 2 and 1.
God. God. Exodus chapter 2 verse 1. And there went a man of the house of Levi and took a wife of the daughter of Levi. And the women conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when
she hid him away for 3 months. Why? Because the Egyptians wanted to kill our babies. So now listen to this. This Egyptian king knew something. Imagine if this Egyptian king got to kill Moses, we would probably still be in Egypt right now. Now, that's why he wanted to kill Moses. Why do you think Herod wanted to kill Christ? Because he knew if I kill him, I can stop what's going to happen. And that's why he was grieved and upset. And this is why they killed all the 2-year-olds, because they knew what? A deliverer was going to come, man. They knew a deliverer was going to come out of one of our males. So now, the white man knows a deliverer. We've got a deliverer. But he knows what? Part of the 144,000, he knows, forget them to be homosexuals. He ain't going to be one of them. Drug dealers, he ain't going to be one of them. He knows these things. So he tries to get you to do all manner of evil. Because he knows what? We might just rise up like what? We might just rise up like Moses, man. Read on.
God. And when she saw that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrush and daubed it with slime, with pitch. Daubed it with slime, with pitch, and put the child therein, and she laid it in the flags, in the flags by the rivers.
Listen, man, she'd rather put the baby by the river. She's seen that the baby was safer by the river with crocodiles and all these things which come out of the river than the Egyptians, man. She'd rather put the baby by the river, which is safer than being in the hand of the Egyptians, safer than being in the hand of the white man. The crocodiles will take care of you, have more mercy on you than these Egyptians, man, than the white man. So that's why she put the baby there by the river, and then she stood afar off. Go ahead, and she done this so strategic. Read on.
God, by the flags in the river's brink, and his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done to him.
So
and the daughter
put him there, and then Moses' sister stood far off Moses' sister stood watching to see what would happen to him. So she stood far off, made out like the child wasn't theirs, made out like the child was no relation to them. Go ahead.
And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river.
The daughter of Pharaoh, an Egyptian. I didn't even know Egyptians washed. This is a first for me. The daughter of Pharaoh came to the river. This is a new one. The daughters of Pharaoh having a wash. Oh, that's a good one. You probably see this is probably the only time you see an Egyptian have a wash in the scriptures, man. Don't think I've ever seen it again. Probably just this once. Go ahead.
God. And her maidens walked along by the river's side. And when she saw the ark among the floods, she sent her maidens to fetch it.
So now she was the daughter of Pharaoh, meaning what? She's got maidens, meaning she's got women under her. She's got a bit of power, because, you know, she's the king's daughter. Go ahead.
And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she...
And then she saw the child, and the babe wept. Go ahead.
God. And she had compassion on him, and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children."
And she saw the baby and had compassion and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children." She said Moses. Moses wept. Listen, man. She wouldn't have had compassion on Moses if she knew what Moses was going to do later on in life, man. If she knew what Moses was going to become later on in life, she wouldn't have had compassion on him, man. I think the white man learned from this to not have compassion on none of us, because he knows one of us might just rise up like Moses. That's probably why they don't have no compassion on us. Read on.
God. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew, of the Hebrew women, that
now,
she may live?"
Then Moses' sister, remember, Moses' mother's put him there. Moses' mother's put him there. And the Moses' sister stood afar off watching to see what would happen. Moses' sister was so strategic that she said, "Should I call the child's mother?" So they've done it strategic, man. Go ahead.
God, that she may nurse the child for thee.
She didn't say his mother. She said one of the Hebrew nurses. So now she told the Egyptian woman, "I'm going to call one of the Hebrew nurses." But really, she called the child's mother. Pharaoh didn't know this. Pharaoh's daughter didn't know this. She just thought it was one of the nurses, not the child's mother. So they done it very strategic. Go ahead.
And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, "Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages." And the woman took the child and nursed it.
And the woman took the child and nursed it, man. She took the child and nursed it. And this was her own child, but she was so strategic. She made the woman believe that she was just the Hebrew nurse. Read on.
And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter.
Then imagine Moses lived in the house of Pharaoh, man. Once Moses grew, he lived in the house of Pharaoh, and Moses became what? The man the Lord used to bring down Egypt, man. Like, you don't know what the Lord's going to use you for. The Lord could use you for something big, but as long as you're getting high, you wouldn't know. As long as you're taking drugs, you wouldn't know. Read on.
And he became her son, and she called his name Moses.
Moses,
and she said,
in Hebrew, what, Marshall? Yeah, means drawn out. Go ahead.
Because I drew him out of the water.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens.
And when Moses was grown, Moses went out, man, and he looked on his brother's burdens. Moses sinned the hard work. Moses saw the slavery. Moses could have said, "You know what? I'm living lavish. That's their problem. Moses
Right.
didn't say that, man. Moses didn't say that. Moses did what? Looked on their burdens, and Moses understood that he's not an Egyptian, man. You know why?
Right.
Moses' mother raised him right, man. Moses'
That's
mother
right.
raised him right, made him know he was an Israelite, man. Moses knew these things. Read on.
And he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren.
What? Moses saw an Egyptian hitting an Israelite, man. Same like you see the white man killing black people today. Moses also saw this in Egypt. Moses saw black people being ill-treated by their slave master in Egypt. Go ahead.
And he looked this way and that way. And when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand.
He did what?
Slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand.
And listen, man. Moses slew an Egyptian man and hid him in the sand. Now, was it right to murder? No, but Moses had it up to here, man. He couldn't take these people oppressing his brothers, man. Read on.
And when he went out the second day, behold, two men of the Hebrews drove together.
And then the next day, Moses went out. And then when Moses went out the next day, what did he see? He saw black on black crime, man. Moses saw black on black crime, same thing we see today. Read on.
And he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow?
And then Moses tried to say to him, listen, why are you hitting your brother? Why are you attacking your brother? Now you would have thought that this black man who was getting beaten up by the Egyptian before that Moses killed, you would have thought this black man would have said, you know what? That man showed me great brotherhood. That man killed the man for me because I was being harmed. You would have thought that black man would have said that. What did he say? Read on.
And he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us?
And he said, who made you a prince and a judge for us? So this man that Moses helped, now he's attacking another black man, man. This brother that Moses helped, you might as well say he's a coon, man. You might as well say. And then he opened his big mouth and said, oh, you're going to kill me like you did the Egyptian. Then Moses had to flee. But for time's sake, give me Exodus 3:1.
Exodus chapter 3, verse 1. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian.
Moses' father-in-law, because what? After in Exodus 2, you'll see that Moses fled to another land. Why? Because the Egyptians sought to kill him. Because of him killing the Egyptian man. Go ahead.
And he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of God, even to Hebron.
Go ahead.
And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst.
Now, right here, this is where you can say Moses came into the truth. Moses came into the truth right here, man. Whereas before this, Moses just what? Had a zeal and loved his brothers, but he wasn't in the truth. So this is why Moses got his wife before Exodus, the 3rd chapter. Moses came into the truth right here, man. At this burning bush. Read on.
Out of the midst of the bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire. And the bush
with fire, but the bush weren't consumed. It was just a burning fire. This is what people like to say. Oh, this means you can smoke marijuana. How do you get smoking marijuana out of this? like how do you get smoking marijuana out of this? I don't get how to get it. Read on.
And Moses said, I will now turn aside. Salakia. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, here am I.
And he called out of the bush and said, Moses, man. This is where Moses is coming into the truth right here. Go ahead.
God of God. And he said, draw not nigh hither, but put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground.
And this is the land where we're going to get, read on.
God of God. Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy fathers.
And now
The
he
God.
said to him, he appeared to him in the bush, and he goes, Moses had the zeal, so he appeared to him in the bush, and he said, I'm the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Go ahead.
God. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God.
Go ahead.
God. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt.
The Lord said to Moses, I've seen the affliction of my people who are in Egypt. Now the Lord did what? Was going to use this man to deliver the nation, man. Read on. The Lord said, I've seen, and the Lord didn't say about everybody. The Lord said, I've seen the affliction of my people that are in Egypt. Meaning the Lord only saved one people, and is only coming back to save one people who's being what? Afflicted by our oppressors right now. Same way we were afflicted in Egypt, it's the same way we've been afflicted by our oppressor right now, man. Read on.
God. And I've heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters. For I know.
Cry, man, by what? The affliction that we was going through, by the oppression, by the whippings, by the lynchings, by all of those things, man. The Lord heard our cry, and the Lord's hearing our cry right now, and He's getting ready to deliver us right now. All we have to do is stay in this truth and then do the work. Go ahead.
God. For I know their sorrow, and I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up. And
he said, He's come to deliver us out of the hand of the Egyptians, man. The hand of the Egyptians. Now, the Lord used Moses, man. The Lord could be using you. Give me Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 4, actually.
Right. Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 4. Then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And
what did the Lord say?
Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee.
Listen, man. Before Moses was hid at the river, the Lord knew that He was going to use Moses, man.
That's
the Lord knew. You see, before Jeremiah was born, the Lord knew that this man was going to be a prophet, man. Tazapuan, you see, before you was born, the Lord knew that you was going to be a prophet, man.
That's right.
The Lord called you in His timing, man. Now, the Lord knew us before we was born. The Lord put us on this earth for a purpose, man. The Lord put us on this earth to be His prophets, to be His mouthpiece. The Lord knew us before we was born. Read that part from the top.
God. Then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee.
Listen, man, before we was born, the Lord knew we were going to have these devils kiss our boots, man.
That's
the Lord
right.
knew that we were priests and prophets in the I.S.U.P.K, raising up His people. The Lord knew this before we was born, man. What, you think God didn't know? God knew He was going to use Moses to deliver the Israelites. God knew He was going to use Yahushua to save us. God knew these things, man. That's why God said before you was formed, I knew you. Now, are you going to come and serve your purpose? Or are you just going to go and get high? Are you just going to go and start drugs? Are you just going to go and be a homosexual? What are you going to do, man? God said before you was born, before you was formed, I knew you. Meaning before your parents got pregnant, God knew us already, man. God knew His prophets. And God came to us in His timing, man. God came to Moses at the time He wanted to come to Moses. Read on.
God. And before thou comest forth out of thy womb, it's like you're out of the womb, I sanctified thee.
And He said before we came out of the womb, He sanctified us, man. God knew we was going to be His prophets. Before we came out of the womb. Listen, man. Before we came out of the womb, the Lord knew we was going to get our boots kissed by these devils, man. The Lord knew that, man. Before we came out of the womb, the Lord knew who He was going to use. Before we came out of the womb, the Lord knew He was going to set up Captain Parasha to run the whole of Europe, man. The Lord knew this, man, before he came out the womb. The Lord knew all of this before he came out the womb, man. Read on.
Okay, come
Carry on. Read on.
on. And before thou comest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nation.
He did what?
I ordained thee a prophet unto the nation.
And the Lord knew we was going to be prophets, man. The Lord ordained a prophet unto the nations, meaning the Israelites, man. The Lord ordained us as prophets. The Lord knew exactly who we was going to be, man. The Lord knew once we come into the truth. The Lord knew I was going to get the name Dom Gabar, man. The Lord knew this from when my dad gave me that name. The Lord must have been looking at this nigga sideways like, he ain't having that name for too long, man. He must have been looking at him like, he ain't having that name for too long, man. The Lord knew exactly who he was going to be. Read on.
And I ordained thee to be a prophet unto the nations. Then said I, Ha, Lord God, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child. But the Lord said unto me, say not, I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee, and whosoever I command thee, thou shalt speak.
And listen, you see these words that we speak. You think it's our words, man. This is God's words that we speak. This is God's words that we speak, man. Listen, half of you people at camp shouting boring, boring. Listen, man, you think we want to speak to you? It's because God said we have to speak to you, man. We don't want to speak to you. What makes you think we want to speak to you? It's because God sent us out there, man. Half these people out there trying to battle us. You think if it was up to us, we would waste our time with you? You say something. Oh. You think if it was up to us, we wouldn't waste our time with you. But God said, go out there and speak my words, man. So we do what? Go out there and speak God's words. Come on, you people out there really think we would waste our time with you? Come on, man. Especially the ones coming up against us. You see, listen, I see some nobodies coming up against us, man. What makes you think we would be speaking to you if it wasn't for God telling us to? Listen, man, you wouldn't be on our radar, man. Some of these people coming up with their nonsense. Read on.
Be not afraid, Salakia. And whatsoever I Salakia. But the Lord said unto me, say not, I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee.
And the Lord said we're going to go to all that he shall send us, man. Give me Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 23. I'm going to try to run through it quick for time's sake.
Hebrews chapter 11, verse 23. By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents, because they saw he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandments.
Go ahead.
God. By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter.
By faith, man, Moses gave up all of them riches, gave up all of that money, gave up living that luxury life. Moses gave all of that up. And now, the name Moses is going to be remembered forever, man. The name Moses is going to be remembered forever. We're talking about Moses like what? Over 6,000 years later. We're talking about Moses 6,000 years later, man. Meanwhile, them niggas in the wilderness that came up against Moses, we don't even know their name, man. We don't talk about them. We talk about Moses, though. That could be you, man. That could be you. You see all these books we read in the Bible. These men lived, man. Jeremiah, Ezekiel, these men lived.
Right.
And we're still speaking about these men 6,000 years later, man. Why? Because they serve God. Them names is going to go on forever. Moses gave up everything that he had. And by Moses giving up all of that, guess what happened? The Lord used Moses to deliver this nation, man. The Lord used Moses to deliver our nation. walk us through the Red Sea and all of those kind of things. Read on.
Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God.
Hold on, Moses chose to do what? Moses chose to do what?
Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God.
Moses chose to suffer with the people of God. Meanwhile, you celebrities, they don't want to suffer with the children of God. They don't want to suffer with the children of God. They would rather be like, I've made my money, that's my money, and this is my career. And they don't want to put their career on the line. Listen, Moses put his career on the line, man.
That's right.
Moses put his career on the line, and guess what? He ended the Egyptians' career, man. Ever since then, Egypt ain't been nothing since Moses had it destroyed, man, by the power of the Lord. Ever since then, it's been garbage, man. Read on.
Than to enjoy the pleasure of sin for a season.
And the thing is this, sin only lasts for a season, man. Meaning what? Meaning sin only lasts for a little bit. And then once soon, you have to die for what you've been doing wrong. Whereas by you keeping God's laws, you have eternal life, man. You can have sin that lasts for a season. You can have pleasure that lasts for a season, or you can have eternal life. Now, in here, we know which one we've chose. We've chose eternal life, man.
That's right.
What verse you at?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah. I forgot.
Verse 26.
Yeah, 26. Verse 26. Esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had.
Listen, man, Moses understood something. Moses understood what? I can't live life lavish if the rest of my brothers is slaves. I can't live life lavish if the rest of my brothers is enslaved under this oppressor. Moses understood that, man. Moses was one of them men where he was like, you know what? If we all can't eat, I don't want to eat. That's what Moses was like. Moses was a real black man, man. Women always talking about what a real man is. Moses was a real man. Moses was a real man, man. Not no damn Will Smith. Moses was a real man. If you want to talk about what a real man is, a real man is a man in the I.S.U.P.K, man. A real man that stands for something. That's a real man. But they've got a real man misconstrued. They make it like nowadays a real man is what? Someone that bends over backwards for his woman. Someone that worships his woman and does all kind of nonsense that she says. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 18. Jesus Christ was a real man. That's a real man.
Right.
And us men in the I.S.U.P.K, we real men. That's what a real man is. People think a real man is what? Oh, this is the thing. One time I said, a man's a real man because why? He painted their house. He painted their house as a real, so that makes him a real man. She put a picture of him saying he's a real man because he painted the house. Listen, man. Listen, the thing is this. Just because he done something nice for you, that don't make him a real man. He painted the house, so that makes him a real man. Nah, man, Moses was a real man. Men in the I.S.U.P.K is a real man. Give me Deuteronomy 18 verse 18. One sec, let me get there with you. Yeah, go ahead.
God. Deuteronomy chapter 20, chapter 18, verse
18.
18. God. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren.
He said, I'll raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, man. Now, this is the Lord speaking to Moses, saying, I'm going to raise them up a prophet from amongst their brethren, man. Now, straight away, this can't be Muhammad. Muhammad ain't our brethren.
That's right.
Talking about no Muhammad. The Muslims tried to use this to say, oh, it's talking about Muhammad. This ain't talking about Muhammad, man. Muhammad was some Arab man. That's not our brother, man. Muhammad was some Arab that was an idiot that didn't know nothing. That was illiterate, man.
God.
They're gonna say Muhammad was this is talking about Muhammad. Listen, man. Muhammad ain't worthy to polish the shoes of Jesus Christ, man.
That's right.
Muhammad ain't worthy, man.
Slakia.
To breathe the same air as Jesus Christ, man.
That's right.
Go ahead, Tazapur.
Slakia, the one. John the Baptist said himself he wasn't even worthy of loosening the sandals of Yahweh Shai. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So how can some Arab that eats camels be worthy, man? Some Arab that eats camels and believes you can only go through your house through the front door, you can't go through the back door. Some next nonsense. Listen, man. Some Arab that has sex with kids. It's documented in their hadiths, man. It's in their hadiths. I ain't making it up. Sorry, hadiths, it will tell you, man. Muhammad,
right.
man. Muhammad was a child molester, man.
Right.
Muhammad was a child molester like Jada Pinkett, man. Ain't no different, man. Jada Pinkett she's probably a Muslim, man. She's probably a Muslim. Who knows? Read on. Wouldn't surprise me.
God. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee.
Oh yeah, and this is what Muslims say. They will say, "Oh, Moses wasn't like Christ." Of course he was, man. Moses wasn't like Christ, man.
Let's say Christ weren't married.
Oh yeah, he weren't married. Moses was.
There's no comparison.
They're comparing it to their personal life. This ain't talking about their personal life. Like, listen, man. This is nothing to do with their personal life, man. This is talking about their situation and the work of the Lord and whatnot, man.
That's right.
Moses was what? The savior at that time. And Christ is what? The savior at this time. Moses was what? Almost killed as a baby. And Christ was almost killed as a baby, man.
That's right.
These Arabs think we don't know the Bible, man. We know the Bible, man. What they need to do is just continue to chew on that tree bark. Is it tree bark? Just continue to chew that tree bark. Whatever they say cleans their teeth. I don't know what's wrong with regular toothpaste. I don't know. I know my man just uses toothpaste. I don't know. Read on.
God. And will put my words in his mouth.
And he says, and I will put my words in his mouth. So Christ came. Christ didn't speak his own words. Hold that, but give me John chapter 12 and verse 44. Christ didn't speak his own words, man. Christ spoke the words of his Father, man. Because God said, I will put my words in his mouth. So everything you see in the Bible in red is the words of God, man.
That's right. Well, John chapter 12, 44. Other one.
Come.
God. John 12, 44. Yahweh cried and snuck you. Yahweh cried and said, he that believeth on me, believeth not on me, but on him that sent me.
But him that sent me, meaning Christ saying, he that believes on me, don't believe on me, but he believes on him that sent me. Why? Because the Most High sent Christ, man. And Christ is the mediator between us and the Father. That's why, man. Meaning Christ ain't coming speaking his own words. Christ is speaking the words of God. Go ahead.
That's right. God. And he that seeth me, seeth him that sent me.
And he says, he that seeth me, seeth him that sent me. And this is why Christ said to Thomas, I've been with you so long, and you ask, when shall we see the Father? Christ, the reason Christ said that is because Christ is saying, when you see me, you see the Father. Because why? The words that Christ is speaking is the words of the Father. So when you see Christ, you see God, man.
That's right.
A brother asked a black stereo Semites. The word they call it Semitic, but really in the Bible it's Shemitic. But we are Shemitic, but there's a lot of other people that come from Shem, but we're the real Israelites. So there's other nations which also come from Shem as well. So the other nations which come from Shem is the Arabs and so forth. The white man comes from Shem also. So that's why we don't say we're Shemites. We say we're the Israelites because that's who we are. We're the Israelites. But we come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But Shem is who we descended from after the flood. But Tazapon, read on.
God. I am come a light into the world.
And light is what? Light is synonymous with truth and whatnot. Go ahead.
That whosoever believeth on me should not abide in darkness.
Go ahead.
And if any man hear my words and believe not, I judge him not. For I come not to judge.
Christ said, yo, any man that don't believe my words, I don't judge. I come not to judge. Listen, man, you're going to be judged by God because the word you not believing in Christ is you not believing in God. Because the words that Christ spoke is the words of God. These weren't Christ's own words. Christ wasn't speaking his own words. Christ was speaking the words of God. And that's why Christ said to Thomas, I've been with you so long, and you asked, when have you seen the Father? Christ is saying, listen, when you see me, you see the Father, man. Go ahead.
Philip to Philip.
Was it Philip? Yeah, Philip. So, why do I keep thinking it's Thomas? So, like, go ahead.
Read on, Slucky.
Yeah, go ahead.
God. And if any man hear my words and believe not, I judge him not. For I come not to judge the world, but to save the world.
And at that time, Christ didn't come to judge the world. He came to save the world, meaning what? He come to save blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Why? Because they was being oppressed. They was being oppressed like it was being oppressed in Egypt. And Christ came to save them. And the very man that the Lord sent to save them, they didn't want to follow him. They didn't want to believe on him. They were saying, he's not sent from God. Meanwhile, God told him in Deuteronomy, the 18th chapter, I will put my words in his mouth. Now, for these Old Testament Israelites, who is that talking about? Show me who he's talking about. He's talking about Christ, man. They're going to give you, who did they say it's talking about? Isaiah or someone? They say it's talking about David. Listen, man, David's dead and buried, man. Christ is alive at the right-hand side of the Father, ready to come back, man. And David even believed in Christ. And that's why David said, my Lord said unto my Lord, man. Read on.
God. He that rejoiceth me and receiveth not my word has one that judgeth him. The word.
Listen, you that don't believe in Christ and listen to Christ's words, you have one that judgeth you, man.
Right.
You have one that judgeth you. Listen, the Old Testament Israelites worship Moses. Listen, Moses told you to believe in Christ, man. Moses told you God's going to raise up a prophet in Deuteronomy, the 18th chapter. Moses told you that. But the prophet that Moses was telling you about, you don't want to follow him. Well, guess what? There's going to be some judgment for that, man. And that judgment's going to come from God. Because you ain't believe. Listen, the words that Christ speaks is what? The words of God, man. It's like when you go to McDonald's and you order it. It's like when you go to Good Burger and someone says, welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can they take your order? That's not that man's words. That's the company's words, man. That ain't his words. The company's words, man. Everybody's watching you. Burger. Yeah, watch it. You're missing out. You watched it, Taz one, right?
It's on a game, innit? It's like the other one. It's on a game, innit?
You watched that movie, right?
A game. It's on a game.
So, like you say that again.
It's on a game that my sons play.
Oh. So yeah, that's not his words. That's the company's words. Whereas the words that Christ speaks, those ain't his words. That's God's words, man. Read on.
Slap the other one. And just like when we go out to camp, we don't speak our words. We speak the Most High's words.
Exactly. That's why we go into the Bible, man. These words in the Bible ain't our words. These is the words of God that we reading, man. So when police come, what do? We show them, you know what? This ain't our words. This is the words of God. This is God's words. That's what we show them, man. And then they can't do nothing to us because what we're saying is in the Bible. Like we don't just make up our own stuff. What we're reading is in the Bible, man. And if they've got a problem with us, they've got a problem with God. And guess what?
That's right.
God's going to judge them for having a problem with his words, man. Because it ain't our words. Read on.
And God, the words that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the last day.
Listen, man. You not believe in Christ's words, you're going to be judged for it in the last day, man. Read on.
That's right. God. For I have not spoken myself, but the Father which sent me.
Christ didn't come by himself. Christ said the Father sent him. The Father did send him, man. And it's written all throughout the Old Testament. You can read all Isaiah 53 and everything, man. Read on.
God. He gave me a commandment, what I should say and what I should speak.
And listen, man.
And I know.
Most High gave Christ the commandment of what he should say and what he should speak. And that's what Christ is doing. And with that, we're up on the time. We're going to do the announcements and whatnot. No, I think it's finished. Was that the end of the verse?
No. One more verse.
Oh, go ahead.
God, and I know that his commandments is life everlasting, whatsoever.
Father, man. Christ has seen the Father, and Christ knows what you get for keeping his law, God's laws, man. He knows these commandments is everlasting. Go ahead, everlasting life.
Whatsoever I speak, therefore, even as the Father said unto me, so I speak.
So everything that Christ spoke is what the Father wanted him to speak. Every single word. That's why it's written in red, man. Christ's words is written in red, and all those words ain't Christ's words, the God's words. With that, we open the time. We'll carry on next week.
All right, clap it up. I.S.U.P.K security announcement. With the I.S.U.P.K started at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohanna, ruled for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head, speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will know each other. After the 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3 and 8:10, means 10 in the Hebrew Ma'ashra, 10% of every increase of any increase of increase, due to the treasury department or the teacher. Refund, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations
To be announced. Feast of Trumpets. We're gonna announce the date, and listen, we're gonna do it in the school, man. Come on down to the feast days, man. Oh yeah, we got Slack. What's the date there? Also, we got a quiz night coming up in the UK school, man. We got a quiz coming up in the UK school, which obviously I'm gonna win, but you know it's worth coming down to it. Is it what's the 25th next week, Saturday. We got a quiz night coming up. Quiz night. We're gonna have some food and drinks, and we're gonna do a quiz, man. And then people that only see us do class, you're gonna see another side to us. You're gonna see. Listen, for you people that's not in the truth, that think you're so smart, come to the quiz night so I can blow you out the water, man. So I can show you that we're smart in everything. And listen, I don't know what's gonna be in the quiz. We don't know what's gonna be in the quiz. You win a prize as well. Listen, and for the quiz now, I'll win a prize as well because obviously, I believe it's out of me or Captain Parasha. That's probably gonna get it. I don't know. I believe it's out of me or Captain Parasha. That's my main competitor in this quiz. Obviously, you take part in it as well. Listen, between all the brothers, listen, all of these are my competitors, man. All the brothers, Officer Karafia, Officer Parasha, Officer Tazapuan, and whatnot. Listen, man, there's a prize, and listen, man, this is fun and some brotherhood, man. We're gonna have some brotherhood. We're gonna have some food, some drinks, and we're gonna take part in the quiz, man. You're welcome to come on down, man. Listen, there's no losers, man. We're all winners because we're brothers, and we're gonna come together. And we're going to show you that black people can come together without pulling knives and guns in each other, man. We're going to have a quiz night, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to love one another, man. Read on.
All check the bulletin board in the hallway, and check all I.S.U.P.K social media. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and headscarf. And with that, I imagine, which means right, I face the east. And the Lord's Prayer, Abanawa, Shabbat, Shemaya, Kodash, Haya, Shankar, Yahweh, Balakukar, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Haya, Aisha, Ratazaka, Kawa, Haya, Shemaya, Nafanina, Nakam, Cow, Yawam, Wasalakina, Kabawakina, Kasalakina, Kabawakina, Wala Tabi'ainawa, Wala Sayawan, Abba, Hawashainawa, Mayan, right, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha Wahapara, La Iwalam, Aman. In the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day, our daily bread. Give us our debts, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. With that, Sister Bishop, see. I give 1K to the teacher. Men of Israel, I'm Madim Shabbat. I'm Madim. Barak. Yahweh Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shai Brakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh
Yajabata, which means hand down. I'm going to saw. Which means turn. The sisters, I'm Madim. Please stand. I'm Madim Shabbat. I'm Madim. Barak. Yahweh Shema Alatah Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai. Yajabata, we hand down. And class is with.
Slakia, other one. Yeah, what time is it? Slakia, what date is the